Celebrities in games, whether it be them playing themselves or taking over the role of a character or if we see a new character. I don't want to count celebrity voice roles that are just reprising their characters from what they're known for, so I'm not going to include any licensed games that are just like, hey, for example, here's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man cast reprising their role for a video game. Nothing like that. I want to think more about just a case where it's like, hey, here's either just a celebrity who's known for voice acting being in the game, or they replace a character with a celebrity, probably thinking it'll drive up sales and think this will make the money, and a lot of times it just kind of confuses people, kind of whole entire aspect. So I wouldn't want to go with that whole entire thing. Although, if they are playing a different version of the character what they played before, this will be counted as well. And they top it off with a technicality, Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog. Because like I said earlier, it counts because he's not playing the same Shadow as the movie Sonic Hedgehog 3. He's playing the video game version for the Tokyo DLC level. So while he is doing a similar performance how he was in the movie, the character he's portraying is the video game counterpart, complete with still having all of his chaos moves and stuff. Although the way he says chaos control in this game just feels completely off. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the most limp sounding chaos control read I think I've ever heard in my life. And I found it weird that his portrayal's like, wait, I don't know, I'm just used to characters shouting chaos control with enthusiasm. Something Keanu's version feel way more stilted by comparison feels weird to me. But I'm counting this because it is Keanu playing the video game version of Shadow and not the movie counterpart, even if it is a level based off the movie and everything.
I've taken on another form? I need to find my way back, or fight my way out. Chaos Control!
There are many examples to pick for Yakuza such like a dragon, really, but I'm gonna just narrow it down to two, with the first one going for being Shinichi Shinohara, Yakuza Kiwami, mostly because he tends to catch people off guard with how abrupt he shows up in the sub-story In Pursuit of Pleasure, with Shinohara playing himself and I think actually voice acting for himself, because I don't know, to me his voice acting just sounds off compared to everybody else. I don't think it's the person playing himself and everything. But he's based on the real-life retired Japanese judoka, so his whole entire sub-story is just initially him and Kiryu misunderstanding a couple's arguments, thinking there's gonna be a fight, and him going overboard and subduing the boyfriend and everything. But there is a point in the game where you do get to actually face off against Shinichi Shinohara in a fight and everything, although his moveset's kind of just grabbed from many other characters from the franchise because he's Yakuza, so gotta reuse what they can to get the things across. But just like picking this one just because it just feels so abrupt how he shows it. He's not a major character in Yakuza Kiwami. It's the fact that he just shows up, has a little side quest, and you get to actually go against him as just a fun opponent as well. Although, as I said, people just get caught off guard, mostly by his appearance and everything, but it's just seems like a fun thing doesn't include for a sub-story. Cutting way farther ahead in the series, with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, we have the character Dwight Mendez, who is played by Danny Trejo, and is based on his likeness. And this one I remember people getting upset about, talking about Infinite Wealth being Hawaii, because why are they adding celebrities to Yakuza when they've been doing that for a long time, whether it be celebrity actors and everything, or just different celebrities that just appear in the games, because why the hell not? Hell, there's a lot of freaking adult actresses also in the games. Like I said, there's a lot of examples of celebrities I can put on this list and everything. But for this case, we're going with Danny Trejo's character, Dwight Mendez, who is more relevant to the plot of Infinite Wealth, if not multiple times. but just the fact that people are surprised that, well, they got Danny Trejo to play a character, and of course, the character fights using machetes.
Pretty nice, huh? A perfect view of paradise.
Dwight Mendez.
You must cause your parents a lot of headaches.
How did you know?
How do I know? I know everything.
With them even having a bit of dialogue about why machetes are essentially made for both a good tool and a good weapon. It's even a video where they had Danny Trejo react to the cutscenes of his character in question, everything. But with Danny Trejo playing the English version of the character, they do have separate actors for the Japanese and Chinese dub, with, for Japanese dub, Shuei Matsuda primarily playing the character, although Maxwell Powers handles any English spoken line in the Japanese script, and then for Chinese, Shen Zondong, who just voiced him altogether. So they do have to get different actors when it comes to the dubs and everything for the character, although they do keep the subtitle of the more Spanish slang in his subtitles, despite which script you are going with. So it is a fun thing to try to keep that aspect of that's just how Danny Trejo talks, and keeping that as part of his character as Dwight Mendez. Now when it comes to celebrity roles in games period, I'm not a big movie person, or TV show person, so I don't really know a lot of the celebrities that getting used supposed to be quote-unquote big deals, such as for Metal Gear Solid V, Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain, when they replace renowned Snake voice actor David Hayter with Kiefer Sutherland. There were people being pissed as hell, but some welcoming it because they like Kiefer Sutherland. I did not know who the hell Kiefer Sutherland was. All people said was, he's the guy from 24. And I'm like, okay, what's 24? I knew nothing about him, or why that's supposed to be some big deal. I was just upset because David Hayter has been playing Solid Snake, Naked Snake, so why Old Snake as well? So like, why change his role now? It turns out it's because supposedly Kojima had been wanting a celebrity actor, English actor, for Snake since like, I guess like 3 or so. So like, if he had a different actor for Naked Snake back then, but kept David Hayter as Solid Snake, it'd be more understandable. It'd be like, hey, here's our biggest project, and we just pushed out our main actor who's been with us for so many years in order to get Kiefer Sutherland, who doesn't really talk much when it comes to Metal Gear Solid V between either the two games. It's like, it feels like a weird thing where it feels like they got him for the celebrity status, but they didn't really use him much, period, which also hurts the games a bit for a franchise that's known for a lot of dialogue and everything. Having the main character of Punish, Venom, Snake, and Phantom Pain not have much to say just feels so weird and everything. But for me, it was just like, who the hell is Kiefer Sutherland?
Kept you waiting, huh?
This one's gonna make me look really stupid. So, for me, I did not know that Mark Hamill for the longest time was also a live-action actor. I only knew him for his animated roles, specifically. So the fact that he is kind of a celebrity actor when it comes to doing voice acting for stuff like being the Joker in the Batman Arkham series, or also when he played Majima in the original English dub of Yakuza 1, because the fact of, oh, he also played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. I never watched Star Wars, so I didn't know Mark Hamill was also a big live-action actor. Instead, I only associated him with voice roles, and when it comes to that one aspect, it was one of those things where people count that as, oh, a big celebrity actor. It just feels weird to me. It's like, well, I don't know, for me, he was always primarily the Joker when it came to so many animated projects and voice acting, so I just don't associate him with live-action roles, period, but him playing the Joker in video games apparently does count as a Hollywood actor in a video game.
But the problem with that plan is that when you take an insane person to the asylum, you're just taking him home. The very place he knows best.
This one may or may not technically be cheating, but I'm counting both Katy Perry and Ariana Grande appearing in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius because, well, it is using their likeness for these units in the game that can be obtained and everything, with Katy Perry also making a track for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, specifically previewing the track of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, everything. So they did have to make units for the real life singer, so I am gonna count it as celebrity appearing in a video game, especially since they made multiple versions of their sprites for the crossover, with them being in the games. I don't know if it feels weird to put this, but I am counting it because, hey, gotta say Katy Perry and Ariana Grande were in Final Fantasy. Said it was the Brave Exvius mobile title, but Final Fantasy is in fact Final Fantasy, so I'm counting it. Time for one that pissed off people, and I really don't know why. It is the Dimitri Vegas skin for Mortal Kombat 11, where Sub-Zero's voice actor will be replaced with the superstar DJ, Dimitri Vegas. And okay, I get people being mad because he's not exactly a voice actor and his performance is very awkward.
One more time, Hanzo.
Never learn.
A man's never too old to learn.
Round one.
But there were people who thought he was going to become the new actor for Sub-Zero, replacing Steve Blum, which, no. It was just a cool, neat little bonus thing they decided to do on top of it being a free skin in the game, but there were people who took such personal offense as if this were the case of like Kiefer Sutherland replacing David Hayter. They just want to do this as a fun little bonus thing, especially since he worked on the game as well. But people were just really, like I said, if people were just upset by the vocal performance, I get it, he's not exactly an English voice actor, so it makes sense his delivery isn't great, but there are people who treated it as if he was going to become the new face for Sub-Zero. It's like, no. Like, I mean, you could argue it's a lot of effort to have him be as a skin and do the role of Sub-Zero, also scanning in his face and everything for the performance, but it was just a fun little thing and not much else. Lacey Chabert, another person I specifically associated with more anime projects, would be like the Wild Thornberry, Spectacular Spider-Man, etc. So, once again, it's supposed to be a big deal that she was the voice of Elise in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Once again, I only recognize her specifically for anime roles, and not being also a big movie actor as well. It was one of those things where this case of she did good as Elise. This is one of the problems that Elise never came back as a character throughout the entire franchise, so we never got her performing Elise in an actual better written game or anything, so she have more to work with. But she was also, she is also a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, so it was also a great opportunity for her to get to be in a Sonic the Hedgehog title, voicing Princess Elise. Just the fact of Elise never actually came back in a voice role, so never got to reprise in a better title. It's one of those things that, once again, because I associate her with more voice roles, it's supposed to be a big deal, and I'm like, wait, she's a big live action actor?
Sonic, have you visited many wonderful places before?
Yeah.
Once you defeat Eggman, you'll leave, won't you?
While Call of Duty has had many celebrities in its cast for throughout the entire years, I'm going to go with the one I'm most familiar with, which would be Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies map, Call of the Dead. An entire Zombies map themed around these celebrity actors and everything. whether it be from director George A. Romero, kickstarted this entire plot on the map about trying to use this filming locale because he found out about the 115 experiments in this area, or the actors in question, like Danny Trejo, Robert Englund, Michael Rooker, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, all now having to fight off zombies. And at the time when I saw his trailer, I only recognized George Romero and Danny Trejo. I had to read comments to get more insight on who Robert Englund and Sarah Michelle Gellar was. I repeat, I'm not a movie or TV person, so I didn't know their roles at the time. Now I do. Don't murder me, especially when they also reference some of their roles, since everyone here is essentially playing themselves when it comes to this whole entire little story scenario for the zombies map. But it's just one of those cool things where just, hey, we're excited to have one entire map where the celebrities just kind of playing themselves. The only bummer part is the fact that because it's Call of Duty, you never get to actually play the zombies mode with the weapons they start out with when it comes to it. Granted, I'm not sure how much damage Robert Englund be doing with a pitchfork, but it's one of those things where it's a cool addition to have. One of the things I love mentioning to people that, hey, here's an entire zombies map that just did around having big celebrities for this entire thing. Also, fun fact, they apparently never recorded a voice line for Sarah Michelle Gellar actually doing Dolphin Dive, so she just reuses one of the male Dolphin Dive sounds throughout the entire game. So that's a fun little tidbit, but it's just a cool thing, especially when the boss of the map is a zombified George Romero who constantly stalks the player and can be defeated or to get more goodies, with the stage light he's using also doubling as a health bar to tell you how much damage he has left. It's one of those cool concepts and ideas for a zombies map that is one that people do really like.
We're completely surrounded!
We're completely fucked.
Are you girls kidding me? I've been praying for this shit! Come on!
Boys, let's get to work.
For God's sakes, he missed me again! Oh, cut! Are you blind, man?
I gotta count Shaq Fu because while the original title didn't exactly have voice acting per se, its sequel, Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn, does, so I now get to include Shaquille O'Neal playing himself in Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. I am just surprised as a game that was crowdfunded, and I should be surprised that people funded the damn thing considering people wanted to see how bad it could possibly get, or that tagline that says we won't fool it up a second time, and they did. But it's one of those whole entire things that they really made a second one and people actually freaking crowdfunded and paid for it, kind of one entire thing, after people saw the disaster of the original Shaq Fu. So I don't know what else to say. But either way, it's Shaquille O'Neal again to essentially play himself, or a more fictionalized version of himself in the role, considering it's a more exaggerated thing with while playing himself, he is fighting the whole entire character thing when it comes to the whole entire, Shaq Fu thing.
They call me Superman. I don't wear tights or a cape, but I leap, dodge, and I sure as hell fly. I'm the Big Daddy, the Big Aristotle, and I'm big time. Some ancient freaks got delusions of grandeur. Looks like Shaq Daddy's gonna have to whoop some ass.
I already mentioned Final Fantasy Brave Exvius as example of celebrities in Final Fantasy titles, but I gotta mention the fact that they also had Lance Bass be the first ever English voice of Sephiroth via Kingdom Hearts 1 and everything, which also was a big dream come true for Lance Bass to play Sephiroth, although he claims that he never got to reprise the role because feeling like people probably didn't like the fact that a celebrity boy band person was essentially playing this beloved character of Sephiroth, everything.
Dodge this! On guard! Meet your fate! Rawr. Prepare to fall. Out of my way. I titled this. It ends here. Over here.
But also gonna mention Gact playing Genesis in Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, which is practically a character made for Gact to play and everything. Like, he already had his music being included when it came to Wilson-Sampras, which I believe that came out before Crisis Core. Not sure. But also, now also had Gact playing the character of Genesis, and then recording all of his voice lines in Crisis Core when they first made the game, so in case they ever needed to fully voice the game down the road with them. That's why they said they never got to bring back, they had to bring back Gact because they already recorded all of his lines for a Crisis Core reunion all the way back then.
深淵の謎、それは女神の贈り物。我らは求め、飛び立った。さまよい続ける心の水面に、かすかなさざ波を立てて。
Kristen Belness has his Creed series, typically playing Lucy Stillman. Another case of, I didn't even know that was a celebrity casting at all, but now I do, I guess. And how she reprised the role when it came to Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, and the fact that I'm now learning her character was removed because Kristen Bell wanted royalties, and so they decided to essentially just remove the character instead from the rest of the franchise, which is, that's a very petty ass move to do. But so yeah, that's a petty ass move. They wanted royalties, so just, you know what, just kill off the character and everything. She's gone from the franchise. We're not talking about it ever again.
This is the specific memory we're trying to access. Unfortunately, when we try and open the memory, your mind withdraws. You lack the confidence to step into your ancestor's body. That's what happened earlier. You got knocked out of the target memory and pushed back to a more stable state.
Why?
It's your subconscious. It's resisting.
Last word I'll mention for this will be Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight, with his character essentially playing himself, being someone who just came in to act for an in-universe film, but has now ended up in the fog, with him referencing the fact that he knows that some of the killers are essentially popular pop culture figures and everything, but also the fact that he's essentially in the game since, while DVD is a horror game, it's the fact that Nicolas Cage is known for being in horror films, so horror actor in a horror game, even if it's the actor himself and not playing a character, so he does come off entirely as goofy, with his perks also being completely goofy choices and everything. But it's one of those one-time things of just having fun with the idea. Granted, this was leaked before it got officially announced, so we knew about it before the big onstage reveal and everything. We did get Nicolas Cage on stage to talk about being in Dead by Daylight and why he enjoys Dead by Daylight and everything. So that part sucks, but it is a cool addition, even if some people don't understand why he's there to complain, saying him being there ruins the horror of Dead by Daylight, because people only have one definition of horror when it comes to what it should be and everything, you know. But yeah, that's a pretty cool inclusion as well, because many people still use his perks, especially if they play Steam Stranger Things. Stop that!
Because even after all the death, decay, and darkness, I still remember exactly who I am.
I gotta end it here because honestly, there's way too many other ones I can mention. Like I mentioned, there are some franchises that just have a lot of celebrity actors in it, so it's just going on for way too long. Like, I could mention Willem Dafoe and Elliot Page in Beyond Two Souls. You could mention Elijah Wood in Legend of Spyro and everything. Like, it just keeps going. Brutal Legend entirely is filled with a whole bunch of rock and roll and metal celebrities and everything. So you can just keep going and going and going. And this last one I'll probably mention will be the fact that, again, didn't know they were a big deal at the time when I played Castlevania Lords of Shadow series, but Patrick Stewart being in the Castlevania Lords of Shadow series as well with the role of Zobek. So, once again, another one that didn't really know how much of a big deal it was that this actor was in the game, especially for how much he was in the Lords of Shadow franchise. So I gotta say, go out there, play games whether you have celebrity roles or not. Like I said, for some cases, they're there because they want to try and attract people because, oh, insert celebrity is now in the game. Play this video game because I guess now our game is seen as more legit because we got a celebrity actor, but also many celebrity actors are just also voice actors and also just good at their job and everything. Although some cases are in terms of performance and everything. But like I said, that's the people working on it has to know what getting into. Granted, the publisher probably said, gun to your head, insert this celebrity to the video game for top of marketing. So publishers could try to push stuff even as a bad idea. So guys, have a topic? Alrighty then, good day.
Celebrities in games. Now, there's a lot of games that I've played where there's barely any celebrity presence. Said for the few that I'm going to mention. So, first off, I want to mention Mortal Kombat 11. Now, the game has a lot of celebrity appearances. So, obviously, the one I like to talk about is Shang Tsung. So, we have I'm going to butcher his name, so forgive me, Cary-Hiroyuki, which is the actor who has played Shang Tsung in the live-action adaptation of Mortal Kombat from the year 1995. Now, that is my childhood. I grew up with that. That is the second movie that I have watched in my life, you know, when I grew up. So, it was cool to see him come back as Shang Tsung.
I will torment you for eternity. Do your worst, Shang Tsung. And now a taste of things to come. Your soul is mine.
And then, if that wasn't enough, later on, MK11 got a DLC pack, which brought over the classic MK movie skins pack, which brought over Linden Ashby as Johnny Cage once again, Bridget as Sonya Blade once again, and Christopher Lambert as Raiden once again. However, sadly, the only two that we didn't get, which in my opinion would have been absolutely pivotal, was Robin Shou as Liu Kang and Talisa Soto as Kitana. Those are the last two cast members we needed from the 95 gang. But unfortunately, that never happened. I guess they couldn't get their rights or they couldn't get into contact with them. Who knows? But so we only have about 80% of the 95 movie cast with us in N11. But regardless, that made me jump for joy. Like, not only am I a 95 movie fan, but like, come on now, really, you that was my dream come true. It was so nice to have them, especially that they also voiced themselves as well. So it was nice to hear the squad back, even though obviously time has passed and they have gotten a little bit older. So for Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, you can kind of like, it's passable. But for Raiden and Shang Tsung, you can tell that the age did hit them, which, you know, obviously it's not their fault. But you can tell that time has passed. But I still liked it. You know, they got a lot of classics in there, especially Shang Tsung going with the, "Your soul is mine." It's full of reference, it's full of nostalgia, it's full of goodness for those who were fans of it, who cared enough, and all that jazz. And, you know, especially Raiden, like, I don't think he says it in the game, but, like, you know, you watch the movie, Raiden, one of my favorite lines from Raiden is where he's like, "The fate of billions depends upon you." I'm sorry. It's fantastic. Oh my god, it's perfect. I'm happy.
Any ring I step into is mine.
Then this fight is now personal. It is exhausting being so perfect.
Now, another celebrity one, again from also Mortal Kombat as well, but in Mortal Kombat 1, is Jean-Claude Van Damme for Johnny Cage. Now, fun fact, if you didn't know about this, Johnny Cage was based on Jean-Claude Van Damme, specifically the character he played in the movie Bloodsport from 1987. So when they were developing Mortal Kombat back in the early 90s, they actually reached out to Van Damme because they wanted him to play Johnny Cage. But I don't know if it was because he was committed to a different role or he said no, I don't remember what it was, but that didn't happen. So eventually they decided to come up with a character who was similar to Jean-Claude Van Damme and gave birth to Johnny Cage. And now we've come full circle where now Jean-Claude Van Damme is a skin for Johnny Cage, and he even has unique dialogue for Johnny Cage when he meets him. So it's pretty cool. And, you know, I did grow up watching a bunch of Van Damme movies as well, Bloodsport being another of my favorites as well. So, you know, it was nice. It's another one of those, hey, I know this character and I know where their movies are from and etc, etc. So it was nice. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
I finally meet Hollywood Boulevard Johnny.
Fans love me. Do you know what they'll pay for a selfie?
Now, Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077. I was already a huge Keanu fan, from The Matrix to John Wick to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to Constantine, and, you know, a lot of movies that Keanu Reeves has done. I've watched, I'm not going to say all of them, obviously I have not watched all of them, but I've watched a good chunk of Keanu Reeves' movies, and I like Keanu Reeves. He's a pretty chill guy as far as we've seen him being portrayed as. So it was pretty cool to see that he was in a video game and, you know, playing a completely new original character. Cyberpunk 2077 is a very cool game. I have not finished it, but for the majority that I have gone through, you know, I like Johnny Silverhand. He's a pretty cool character. At first he's an asshole, but then you start to bond with him and it seems to be, you know, you start to like form a relationship with him, like not in that way, but just like a mutual friendship. And I like that, you know. Johnny Silverhand, so far, again, I have not finished Cyberpunk, seems to be cool. And yeah, you know, you're breathtaking. Haha.
Hear me, asshole? A bullet to the fucking brain! Get out! Just get the fuck out!
And you're a cunt. Maybe we'll fit together after all.
Norman Reedus as, I don't know his name from Death Stranding. I have yet to play Death Stranding. For me, I know Norman Reedus as Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. So it's cool to see him in, you know, doing different things. I never expected him to be in video games because like I've seen his other works. Like he was in a movie called The Boondock Saints. And I like Norman Reedus. He's a pretty cool actor. So it was cool to see him in a video game. Yeah, he was also in Silent Hills PT before that got canned. Yeah, Norman Reedus, I don't really got much to say about it. Like, I have not played Death Stranding, so I can't really speak on said subject, but it's cool to see him in a video game, and, you know, one day I'll give Death Stranding a try and see what that's about. But yeah, it's always nice to see Norman Reedus. You know, for me, it's like, hey, that's Daryl, you know?
They'll try and stop you every step of the way. But you gotta keep moving. No matter what.
Angel de la Muerte is a character in Saints Row 3, and if you knew this, he is actually voiced by Hulk Hogan, back when Hulk Hogan was still alive. And I kind of caught that early on because I grew up watching wrestling. I was a huge wrestling fan. So I noticed the movements, the signatures that he does, and sometimes his voice would come out, and I'd be like, is that Hulk Hogan? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and he's obviously playing a character that's like completely unrelated. Well, not completely unrelated to him, like unrelated name and physical appearance wise, but like, you know, both wrestlers. But you know, it's funny. You know, it's like Angel Muerte, Hulkamania brother, all that jazz. So that was pretty cool. I picked up on that.
Okay, so why are we here?
Losing his mask is the ultimate shame a luchador can feel. I can't steal it back. I need to earn it.
All right, how do we do that?
We hurt a lot of people.
Viola from Saints Row 3. Now, she is voiced by Sasha Grey, and for those who know, for those who know. But anyway, regardless of that, you know, I still liked the character. I felt her performance was stellar and all that jazz. But it's just another one of those factors like, wait a minute, she's voiced by who? That's pretty much my reaction, because at the time I didn't know about that. So I was like, wait a minute, who? Who voices her? Who?
This is the worst idea you've ever had.
We can't go marching onto Stag's aircraft carrier.
Why not? I look just like Cyrus. All I gotta add is a fucked attitude.
What happens when you're on board?
I walk in with my prisoners, they take me to the cell block, I grab Shandi and we leave.
I'm sorry, prisoners?
Likewise, from Saints Row 3, there's another celebrity, Burt Reynolds. At the time, I didn't know who that was. It was only later on that I found out, oh, he's a celebrity from, like, the back then. I'm not familiar with any of his works. I'm not gonna lie, I never watched anything he was in, because, again, I didn't know who this was. I only know him by name, so I was just like, okay, cool, another celebrity appearance. Burt Reynolds, I know him by name, but that's about it. I'm not familiar with any of his works.
Zombie problem that I want.
Wait, a what problem?
Zombies.
You mean metaphorically, the celebrity-obsessed media drug masses, yes?
This ain't Los Angeles.
I'll tell you about it later.
You knew about this?
So what do you say, kid?
In Mass Effect 3, there's a character called James Vega, and he's voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. Now, for me, that name rang a bell because I remember he played Fred in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie from the 2000s. Now, I know he probably did other works and stuff, but to me, that's the only place I recognized him from. When I heard the voice, and then I looked up the behind the scenes, and I was like, oh my god, is that Fred from the Scooby-Doo movies? Freddie Prinze Jr., that's crazy. He voices James Vega in Mass Effect 3. So I thought that was a very cool thing.
Just came down to talk.
Great. Not sure what there is to talk about. You already know my service record.
Captain Anderson in the Mass Effect series is also voiced by Keith David. Now, Keith David, for those who've played Halo, apparently he's in Halo. I have never played Halo. I know, sue me. I've never played Halo, so I don't know about that. And I've seen a few movies that he's in, but I really only know Keith David from Mass Effect. So I thought that was cool too.
A lot of these people have never held a gun in their life. When they heard you ended the Geth conflict on top of allying the Turians and Krogan, that was a shot in the arm, Shepard. Of the one thing we're in short supply around here, faith. That any of us will live to see another day.
Admiral Hackett in the Mass Effect series is voiced by Lance Henriksen, who is an actor from the Alien movies. And I remember hearing his voice and thinking to myself, is that the guy from Alien? So that was very cool to hear that. So every time I see him, I'm always like, oh my god, it's Admiral Hackett, even though I first saw him in Alien, but like, Admiral Hackett stuck so much to me, so every time I see him in a different role, I'm like, is that Hackett? Like, even more recently, I saw him in a different movie of a documentary about a singer called Patsy Cline, where he played her husband, and I'm like, is that Hackett? I didn't even recognize him because he put on a country accent, but like the face and a slight tones, I was like, wait a minute, is that who I think it is? So that's cool, that's very cool.
Again, we need to keep hitting the Reapers across every theater of war they open. Buy us time to figure out the device.
And when it's finished?
Assuming it ever is, we pool all our resources.